Okay, we're good. We're good. I'm gonna assume we're good. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभव निर्वैर अकाल मूर्त अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आदि सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच वाहिगुरु 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 जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। नानक सहज मिलै जग जीवन नदर करो निस्तारा। एक अरदास पाठ कीरत की गुरु रामदास राखो शरनाई। धन धन श्री गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी महाराज राखो शरनाई। Okay, good evening, welcome back to In the Code. A bit of a rushed code today. This is January 6, 2025, 8:51 p.m. and I need to wrap this session up within like 15 minutes or so. So I haven't done live stream in the past 3 days, I guess, and the past 3 days have been heavy trying to figure this podcast situation out, the podcast project that I've been working on. And I feel like every single project that I've done in the past, which is like on a bigger scale as this one, I've been able to take things to the maximum. I can push them to the maximum that I can. Push is even not clipping. Push them to the maximum I can. But here I got really stretched in terms of optimization. So where does it all start with? Let me, if you can see my screen, let me show you my Notion page. It all started when yesterday I put the first long form podcast on render, and you remember that a few videos back I made this documentation of how to link H.264 proxies to your camera originals in Vinci Resolve, which have timecode issues, right? Timecode is the biggest issue in my scene yet again, even in this episode. However, in that video I was talking about how you can have this proxy workflow where you are running smoothly through your timeline because you're running a very low res proxy instead of the actual footage. Now that is all fine for the editing part of things, but when it comes to actually rendering, proxies are not used for rendering. The original footage is used for rendering, and what our original footage has, like that, the thing that came out of camera was, let me show you, it has this profile H.264 main L5.1 8-bit depth. Sorry, this is the one, H.264 high 4:2:2, so high, okay, high, remember high 4:2:2, L 5.1 bit depth 10. Okay, let me show you in Resolve so it's making a little more sense. So you see this here, if I go to camera, let's say go to camera 2, take 1, you look at any of these original clips here. If I click on them and you come in here, right, on the right side. Okay, wait, I haven't. So what happened is right before the stream, they capture to, yeah, all of my OBS settings and scenes and everything thought like they should just reset, so that's why. Anyway, so here on the right side you see H.264 high 4:2:2 L 5.1, and it is at somewhere at the bottom you will see 10-bit. Okay, now this, all you need to know, I've gone through the research on ChatGPT, so you don't have to. All you need to know is that this is a format which is in 4K, which is in 25 FPS. However, the biggest thing here, when it says high profile, it means it is in a format which can store a lot of color information, a lot of it. Even though we've shot it in auto and not in log, it has a lot of color information built right into it. Okay, which is what is causing the file size to be so big and for it to be a nightmare in order to process without proxies. Now when it comes to rendering it, the thing with this kind of format, right, H high 4:2:2, GPU does not support it. GPU just supports H.264 main profile, or like the basic ones, right? It's just how it is. So it's not so much a fault that when I was rendering yesterday, and let me show you the screenshot for comparison. This was my render of a 28-minute 1080p timeline. It's not even 4K. A 28-minute 1080p timeline rendered in 2 hours 5 minutes 48 seconds. Okay, and now the exact same thing rendered out today, but what I did is, instead of those original clips, I replaced it with the H.264 match source high bitrate clips that I've made, and the same thing rendered in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. And what is surprising is, I will show you that the export, if you come into main, this was what I exported yesterday. That is at 3.13 GB. This is the 9-minute one, which is at 2.97 GB. So the size of the video is the same. If I come in and play this,
So I think this podcast,
this is the quality of what is coming from the original clip. That is like something which was 2 hours of a process. And let me show you the quality of this, which is like a 9-minute render. Now to my eye, right, I do not see a difference at all. It's just I don't see a difference. And yes, if you're working in a very professional environment where like you are supposed to work with color in a very, very particular manner, this approach is not going to work. For the most part, especially for podcasts like these, which are going to be consumed on a mobile phone device, there's absolutely no need for you to stick to this format, that is H.264 high 4:2:2 L5:1. What we are going to go into is rendering out. We're going to drag this video, the original clip, into media encoder. That's what I've already done. Drag it into media encoder and create an H.264 footage. Okay, so if I come in here into my footage for this project, which is where it should be here, over here, cam 1. We've done H.264 of all these, right? And then H.264-1, because, well, you know, the time code is shifted, so we had to do that manually. So this footage here is, instead of being 65 GB, it's just 1 GB. Okay, it's not like the low-res proxy, which is like 65 times less in some MBs. It is still a 1 GB file, which is good. I want it to have as much information as it possibly can. However, it is still a lot more easy for the system to use and to render. And in fact, with this you wouldn't even need proxies to, you know, fly through your timeline. But we have anyway made proxies, so we will just zip through the timeline, like optimization ultra pro max kind of situation. So I'm gonna try and show how to do this. So for the context, right, there's this one other project which was a complete nightmare, because you see cam 1 has take 1 has 4 videos, and then take 2, take 3, take 4. And this is why I needed to figure out this optimization, because if a 20-minute clip was rendering in 2 hours, this particular 1 hour podcast would render in like 6 hours, 8 hours, and that's a nightmare situation to be in, given that what if some changes are coming. I cannot just spend my entire life rendering this particular episode out, which is why I spent like all the time today to figure this out. So we can essentially do the exact same thing that we did in there. We've made the H.264, like this is my hard disk, and for, let's say, for footage cam 1 take 1, H.264 here is empty, and I've made an H.264 like these. Let me just delete the T's, because that's what we're gonna make. So we have H.264 port 001, port 002, port 003, port 004. I have these 4 clips that I've rendered from media encoder, and I'm gonna just change the time code of them. However, what I want to document today is you can obviously go in here and do what I've done in that video and do like manual changing. What I'm going to show is how you can batch process it so that you don't have to manually do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and let's try and do this Divya Shivang. We're gonna, so there is a bit of confusion, like I'm not very sure exactly what I've done. So how do you do this? This code is basically setting inputs. It's defining an array of inputs and outputs. Let me just zoom in. An array of inputs and outputs. Okay, here we're going to put all of the inputs, we're going to put the time codes, and then we're going to put the outputs, and then later what we do is we run through a simple for loop which does what we need. Now here there is this y I've written so that it just overrides. We don't have to like press y every single time it asks for a pop-up. Okay, you'll get a little more idea as I go through this. So how far are we? 9 minutes already. Okay, let me try and do just for one part and then the later, because it's gonna be a little bit of a task to do all of it. Let's try. I'm gonna save this as, let's say, how have we divided, because I'm very confused. So there's cam 1 and cam 2. Okay, I'm gonna save this batch time code as cam 1 dot batch. Okay, so this is cam 1. Now when I come to cam 1, I have this take 1 and I have these 4. Okay, so there's 4 here and the time code is 3125620, starting from 3125620, which is correct, right? So that is what we have. So here what you want to put is you want to put location of where this file is exactly. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my hard drive, which is over here. So this first one, I'm going to say right click, copy as path. This is going to give me the path because I'm going to render all of them in my, okay, I'm going to take them from my hard disk and I'm going to throw them in here. Now this is also very confusing because what we have is we have the same names, right? The names are same. So I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, it's a bit confusing, but just bear with me. So one thing that I've learned from ChatGPT, because I got an error earlier, is don't put quotes. Okay, avoid quotes. So once we have that, F work Django podcast, this, that's what we're getting here. For the second one, I can come in here and paste this. Sorry, I can copy this and paste it here. However, we change this from 001 to 002 and 3 and 4. So this becomes 2, this becomes 3, now this becomes 4. Okay, and I can actually go ahead and even paste it here, because I know then here this will just change to take 2 001. So if I go here, take 2 001, then we take 3 001 002. So I'll come in here and paste it. This will be cam1 take 3 1, and I just hope this is like being streamed, because I don't see any data whatsoever here. I've done refresh page like multiple times. Okay, now I see. Excellent, thank God for that. Okay, so where were we? Take 3 and also take 4 has 2. Yes, take 2 has 1. So 4 1 2 2 4 1 2 2. So take 4 has 1 and take 4 has 2. So now that I've done this, so we're going to dework this from here. Over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and let's just try to do it manually. So I'm going to copy this, or I just make like a text document here just for like the path. So I'm going to say copy as path. I'm going to come in here, so I want to paste this here. So paste, we're pasting in E digital working podcast H.264, and we're going to take this exact same thing, cam1, we're just going to take this name, paste. So now I can come in here, copy this. Is this correct, cam1? Why does it look a little different? Okay, and we're going to change this to 2, take 1, that is correct. Change this to 3, change this to 4. Okay, I'm going to come here, I'm going to change this to take 2, I will stay 1. I'm going to change this to take 3, and that'll be 1. I'm going to change this to take 3, and that'll be 2. It's very important to get these numbers right, because you might end up overwriting videos which are already rendered. I did that mistake once. Okay, 15 minutes in, take 1, so that's take 4, H.264. Again, all of this problem would have been easily avoided if while shooting we made sure that every time we hit record, the starting time code was 000, if it wasn't like moved up like this. And take 4, finally this will be 002. Okay, so we've got this. We have 8 of these inputs and outputs, so we say 0 1 8, and all of this remains the same. We're just going to quickly check if these numbers are correct. So I'm going to come here and looking at cam1, the time codes. Why can't I move this? So take 1, we are at 312 56 20, 313 09 08, 314 32 20, 324 38.8. 2 is, I think we're good, 347. I'm just gonna check the last one. Take 4, last one is 337. What? Sorry, 437 4708. I'm having a headache looking at these numbers now, so bear with me. So now that we've made this file, right, you've saved this as a dot file, dot bat file, control S. So wherever you've saved it, you're gonna open that and just double click to run it. And what this will do is this will just make those clips for us. And if I was to now go into my files, you see already you have that thing happening, like whatever we defined. So we're getting the H.264 file. And I just see my task manager on how we're rendering. We are using like 50% GPU and maximum of it is through the SSD, but that is okay. Frame 9540. One thing is, like, it's a little difficult to understand these the FFmpeg things. Like, yeah, I can see the frame is 12,000 and stuff like that, but it's taking some time to come up. Now once that is done, like, this is gonna be the same thing that we have. Okay, wait, our H.264 folders were empty, so if they're full, that means we're done with the first 4. H.264, the 4th one is being rendered, which I assume is a longer one, so 24,000 frames. Once this happens, right, once this is done, all that we need to do is we need to go to our original clip. And the reason I'm doing this process is because I have already edited those timelines and I've made cut downs out of them, so I cannot afford to redo this thing at all. So I need a workflow where everything just seamlessly integrates with this H.264 situation. So that's what this is about. Let me see how much we've cooked in take 2. There's only one in take 2, which is going to take some time because I guess that's like a bigger one. And this other thing about FFmpeg, like, you don't know how much time it's going to take, which I've said before, that Adobe Media Encoder is beautiful, it's marvelous. However, when rendering through Adobe, this is one thing I also said in that stream, is that when you're rendering through Media Encoder, you cannot change the time code of the video. It's just like H.264 has this thing. You have to, like, change the metadata. This is how you do it. FFmpeg. Apparently, there's so many things I've learned through this project that what we can do is, in the meanwhile, I can make the cam2 file. Okay, so I'm gonna save this as, I'm gonna say cam2, and we should actually be similar in a lot of ways. So I go F. It's important to see that you're in the correct one. So F work, that's our source. Okay, so now come in here, what, here, here, footage, and we're doing cam2. Okay, cam2, take 1. Again, cam2 mein there are, I'm gonna, doesn't matter, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take these. So I'm say copy. So if we have these already, but I'm not sure, right? I'm overwrote a bit. So I'm gonna wait. I already have these, which look correct from here. Even this looks correct, so I'm not gonna do that. Take 3. Take 3 is also there. Take 4. Take 4 is also there. So I'm not doing this. It'll just be a massive waste to redo it again. I've shown it once. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna come in here to the other one, which again, they're the same folders, exact same structure. It gets confusing very quickly. So I come here, cam2, take 1, H.264. I'm just gonna take these with a T, right? So those are the ones which got the time code fixed. I did those in my laptop. So I'm gonna take these, copy. I'm looking at the thumbnail and they look more or less same to me, and I'm gonna paste it here. Oh god, no, this was take 4. Cancel. So T, 2T, 3T. I'm just gonna see if they're the same size, around 7.67 GB. Now one could say this is such an overkill, right? You don't need this level of optimization, especially in my case where I do have a good enough system, right, which can handle things for me. But I don't know, like my soul really craves this level of optimization, because now I know that tomorrow itself I'll be able to render out 3 long form contents which are like either 1080 4K, it doesn't matter. I can render them out in 10 minutes with 100% GPU utilization instead of having one to render in over 2 hours. That's a no-no. You don't want to go down that route. So here we're cooking on here and we're copying from here. Take 1, take 2. There's also something I want to document in terms of fusion that I've learned today, but I'm gonna get late because I need to reach the Gurdwara now. So we'll wait for like 22 minutes in the stream. We'll wait for a little more time, and because this copy is gonna take a while. So anyway, I think I will let FFmpeg do its thing in the background and the copying also to happen. So a little bit of a rushed code situation. I'm not sure how much you got out of this, but I have to make like a lot more proper documentations. However, at this moment, because I've already spent way too much time trying to optimize my workflow, I have to like really get the deliverables done now, which in the next 3 days is 3 long form edits which are almost done. I just have to render them out, and 4 cut downs, which is a bit of a task. But with these optimizations, if my timeline is flying across, it should be a lot simpler and a lot easier. So we'll try definitely documenting that tomorrow. Thanks so much for being in the code. I will catch you in the next session. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.